Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Luke Dance Monster. Today we do have some Star Wars The Black Series news. All of it is regarding the Black Series Rancor Haslab. And we did get the final two stretch goals revealed. We're going to talk about all of that in the video, what I think, what a lot of people think about it. It is pretty controversial, so you might want to stick around. Real quick though, before you do get into it, if you're not subscribed, make sure to hit that sub button because we are giving away this ARC Trooper Echo. It's really close to the screen. There you go. ARC Trooper Echo. It is sealed and ready to ship once we hit 5K. You do have to be subbed to the channel though to enter, so make sure you are subbed. We're only like 600 subs away too, so thank you guys so much for all the recent support. Hitting that sub button just means a ton to me, so if you could do it, I so greatly appreciate it. Anyway, onto the news. So first up, we actually did get painted images of the Rancor. We got the physical model painted, and it looks really, really good. I do have to say, I am blown away with how good the paint on this Rancor is. I know there's some people in the comments of the chat saying it looks bad. I don't know what they're looking at. They must not be looking at the same picture because this paint looks really, really good. I know the difference is this is a really well lit photo compared to the actual scene is very dark. So, I mean, you could obviously tell it's not the same shade, but that's because this one is in light and that one is in a dark room. So I can see the difference and I can see why people are complaining, but I think it's pretty accurate for what it is, and I actually do really like it. They put a lot of work into it. I believe the shackle on the wrist is actually metal too, like die cast, which is super cool. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this model. Still $350 though, and that's what I have the biggest problem with. For me, though, comparing this to like the Sentinel and some other Haslabs, I just don't think that it's really worth the price. $350 is a ton of money for this, and comparing it to like size, like the Sentinel, it's shorter. It's obviously a little, I guess, chunkier, but for the most part, it is pretty close to the Sentinel. But the Sentinel is the same price, and he's still taller too, and it's just, for me, I think this thing is worth $250, $300 if you really, really wanted to push it, but $350 is just way too expensive for me. Yeah, I just, for me, with the stretch goals too, the stretch goals are supposed to be added on bonuses, so you could always say, and this is what I was thinking too, hey, well, that Rancor, it's super cool, I don't think it's worth $350, but with those stretch goals added on, you're getting maybe $100 worth of figures, maybe it's worth that $350 price, but considering that stretch goals, you're not guaranteed to get them. If they don't hit that 19,000 backers, then you don't get all of those stretch goals, so it's one of those, that Rancor itself, the physical model has to be worth that $350, and for me, it's just not. And honestly, looking at it, even with the stretch goals, I don't think it's worth $350. We will get into the next two that were revealed here in just a second, but spoiler alert, we didn't get 4 figures like Galactus. Galactus, obviously, it's not the Sentinel, and I cannot remember what the Sentinel got for stretch goals because I'm not a super big Marvel fan, but I know Galactus got 4 figures for its stretch goals. 4 full figures, $25 each. That's $100 for the figures added on to Galactus. And that's honestly what I was expecting for the Black Series here too, and what we ended up getting is kind of insulting. So to recap, one thing we did get is the re-release of the Rancor. It is an exclusive packaging, and honestly I'm pretty happy with this choice. I think the Rancor is pretty essential to this scene. I think it's pretty iconic as well, so I'm glad they're throwing in the Rancor. But for me, it's another one of those, we've already gotten that figure before, it's pretty cheap on the aftermarket. For me, it's one of those, I'd rather them release a brand new figure than repacking something in a Haslab like this. And so if they're going to repack something, it better not be getting in the way of some other possible stretch goals that we could get. And that is something that happened. We didn't get a lot of the anticipated stretch goals, and I think maybe that's just because the Gamorrean Guard here kind of took up a spot for that. I don't know. I do think the Gamorrean Guard was essential for the set, though. Anyway, the second tier were the rocks and backdrop. This is something that I also think is just kind of pointless. I love the rocks and the skulls and the bones and the backdrop. I think all of that is pretty cool, but I think those are something that should have been included with the set already. I don't think those should be stretch goals. And for one, there's that bone in there too that Luke uses in Return of the Jedi to fight the Rancor. Keep that in mind. We'll get into that in just a second once we go down a few more of those stretch goals. But you know, I think that the cardboard backdrop, they could have found a way to incorporate that into the box somehow. You know, because I know they did that with like the Return of the Jedi Emperor's Throne Room for TVC. They do it with several other boxes before as well. I think they could have included that backdrop in the box and it wouldn't have been a stretch goal. And then the bones and stuff too, I feel like they could have, thrown in as accessories. I like the bones, but it's one of those things, unless you have like sand underneath the Rancor, you just have a bunch of random bones sitting on a shelf, and it doesn't really blend in with the rest of the display. So I don't know how I feel about it. I have mixed emotions. For something like a Haslab, I feel like bones are cool and all, but that's something you could easily buy custom ones, or you could buy like a custom Black Series bone or skull like that for literally like, I don't know, less than $10 on Etsy. Heck, if you have your own 3D printer, you can print it for like less than 50 cents. Honestly, it's probably even less than that. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's definitely not worth a Haslab tier. And the third one is no exception either. It's Salacious Crumb. I would have absolutely loved the stretch goal if it was revealed a few weeks ago, but since it wasn't, I have mixed emotions about it. And for starters, this is a little itty bitty figure. It's like maybe 2 inches tall. It's not very big. It's very, very tiny. It is on its own exclusive card, which is pretty cool. I like that. It's great for inbox collectors, but for me, it's not, again, worth an entire Haslab tier. Some of the other Haslabs are getting, like I said, entire figures for these, and we're getting little itty bitty $2 Salacious Crumb. I don't know, man. It's just not worth it for me. And then to make matters worse, it just really, really got me mad, is the fact that we just got a re-release of him in the Galaxy's Edge exclusive animal creature set. And you could always say, well, no, this isn't Salacious, it's some other one of his species. Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to put the images side by side here. They are very, very similar. Like, okay, maybe there's a little bit that's off, but it's so similar that looking at these two photos, I cannot tell the difference. So, yeah, I'm just going to come out and say I'm pretty sure that is Salacious in that Disney Store exclusive set too. And it's also just kind of frustrating because they like totally, in the live stream, was like, well, this is an SDCC exclusive that's getting a re-release. And I'm like, okay, so maybe the one in the Disney Store isn't like exactly Salacious, but it's so similar that 95% of people aren't going to tell the difference. I can't tell the difference between the two. Maybe Salacious Rum can. Go sub to his channel. But I really just don't think it's, again, worth an entire Haslab tier, considering that you can just go and pre-order the Disney Store exclusive one off Shop Disney. And the last one is another tier that I'm alright with. It is a remold of Jedi Knight Luke. And I think this is going to be pretty big in the future, but for this set, one, it needs 19,000 backers, which is going to be pretty hard. I will get into the whole backer situation here in just a second. But, I mean, I think, again, Jedi Knight Luke is an essential figure for the set. Luke fights the Rancor, Luke kills the Rancor. So I would have been very surprised if they didn't include Luke in this. And I know some people were like, no, they're not going to include it. I'm like, yeah, they probably will. I just wish that he wasn't an entire tier, and then, because I feel like the other 3 tiers are just getting wasted, because Gamorrean Guard, it's readily available. It doesn't need a re-release. The Salacious is not worth an entire tier, and then the rocks, skulls, and bones and everything, I feel like they could have incorporated the backdrop into the box, and then the rocks, skulls, and bones are one of those where like they could have honestly thrown those in, maybe 1 or 2 of them as accessories with Luke himself. He uses those to fight the Rancor, so I think they could be used as accessories. Throw in the one long bone and then the skull, and you got that. I don't think you need that many. Obviously, they made a ton, which is great. I'm glad they gave us a ton, but you really don't need that many. Honestly, just like 1 bone and 1 skull thrown in with Luke would have been plenty. And the fact is, this is a Haslab exclusive Luke, so, at least for now, I'll probably get re-released in the future sometime, but it's a Haslab exclusive Luke, so it's one of those, like, throwing in maybe an extra few accessories, like a bone or a skull, isn't gonna, like, make it a deluxe figure or anything, because it is exclusive to the set. It's not running them a ton of money. I think that's something you could have included with Luke. I think the bone itself 100% should have come with Luke, because it's the main weapon he uses to fight the Rancor. And the skull is honestly what he kills it with. He throws it at the control panel. So pretty sure both of those should have already come with Luke, let alone a whole other Haslab tier. I don't even know about that. And then Jedi Knight Luke as a brand new body, I think it's a great idea. I think one thing that they did is they upgraded him to the pinless look, which is great. I absolutely love that, and I think that this figure looks great. I'm pretty happy with this. I think we needed a new mold for this Jedi Knight body, but it's just one of those. We don't need it that much because we already have this figure in the line. Well, it's nice to get an updated body, and I love them going out of the way to do that. It's just we already have this figure in the line. Obviously, it is a little bit more expensive on the aftermarket, so I do understand that. But we just got like Endor Luke on this Jedi Knight body literally last year, and then they're gonna go and make a brand new body for this guy. Maybe you could have waited to release Endor Luke till you got that updated body, because then we wouldn't be stuck with an Endor Luke on a crappy body. I don't know. It's just really, really confusing. Anyway, we still haven't reached the backer mark. We need 9,000, I believe, by December 8th to back this thing. And right now we are just over 5,000. We've actually lost a good 1 to 200 backers in the last week, which is very, very surprising, but not really considering these crappy stretch goals they've revealed. I understand people's struggles and the reasons to unback it. It's just really not what they were looking for. For me, I was thinking about backing it because I thought, like I said, I don't think the Rancor is worth $350, but maybe those stretch goals would be, and for me, they're just not, so I don't think I'm going to back it. I just think it's way overpriced. And plus, I don't have very much room for the Rancor anyway. And you could also say, like, well, what about the stretch goals? Those are going to be hard to get if you don't get them in the Rancor. Well, no, not necessarily. I already have a Gamorrean guard, and I already have a Luke Skywalker in front of you. And even if I didn't have that Luke, they're going to re-release that new Jedi Knight body Luke in single packaging. They're not going to put all that work into tooling a brand new Luke to not re-release it as a single release figure. So, that's going to come probably with 2023 with the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. I would expect getting that figure completely, whether the Rancor gets backed or not. But considering that the Rancor has just lost like 200 backers, I would not be surprised if this thing doesn't get backed at all. Maybe last minute some more people will back it, like Out of the Basement predicts. But at this point, I think it's going to be pretty tough to get to that 9,000 backer mark, let alone 19,000. I think there's no way we're getting that Luke. I just personally, maybe you guys will surprise me and get a ton of backers for it, but as of right now, that means we need a good 14,000 backers, and we only got 2 weeks left to do it. So for me, that's another reason why I just don't think it's worth backing, because say we don't get into 19,000 backers, then you're paying $350 for only 2 of those, or maybe only 3 of those backer tiers or stretch goals, rather than getting all 4, and then that's just a figure that was wasted that you didn't get. So yeah, I have just tons of mixed emotions about this guy. I think the Rancor itself, the model itself, the paint looks great. It's a really, really cool Rancor. The stretch goals just kind of suck. They're a little underwhelming, and I don't think it's worth $350. I do think it's overpriced, and I understand. I think a lot of people think that as well. One thing that I don't like, though, guys, is all of the toxicity towards the creators. I know that there's a ton of people that go into this, so there's a ton of work that goes into this as well. So they focused a ton of time onto this set, and you shouldn't get mad at the developers. If you don't like the Rancor, then just don't back it. That's simple. You don't have to be rude or toxic or disrespectful about it. I just seeing the chats on the live stream is really disappointing. I thought that we were a little bit better as a community when it comes to stuff like that, but I do understand you guys are upset. I'm upset too, but being disrespectful about it just isn't cool. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for the video. If you did enjoy that, like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let me know, what do you guys think about the Rancor? Are you backing it? Are you not? And I'll see you guys in the next video.